Hello world explorers, thanks for joining us again and welcome back to another exciting and informative video on our YouTube channel. If you are joining us for the first time, we want to thank you for watching. In this episode, we shall be diving deep into the strategy set by the country of Turkey to the continent of Africa. Why is Turkey looking at Africa as a strategic partner at this particular time? The geopolitical concern and why Turkey has emerged as one of the leading countries that is vying for the continent of Africa. Like we have always said, Africa is not up for grabs, but the strategic and geopolitical situation in the region coming from Western countries, China, the United States, and also very regional partners in terms of business and economics. Africa is the new frontier and Turkey is taking huge steps to making sure it can have a piece of the continent. We shall examine this like never before seen. So we encourage you to watch this video to the end for clarity and better understanding. So without any more delay, let's just dive straight into it. Since the 1990s, Turkey has been ramping up its activities in Africa, forging a comprehensive strategy and including active diplomacy, social outreach and economic partnership. It also offers a third way for countries that don't want to be part in the United States-China's power play, which we all have seen recently. If you look at the situation and considering the strategic relationship that Turkey is emerging to develop in the continent, there has been implementing a comprehensive long-term strategy for sovereign nations with Africa. Turkey's approach is orientation and more towards achieving a domestic goal than foreign policy ambition. Turkey also presents itself as an alternative to Western model of liberal democracy and secularism. Turkey unveiled its first action plan for Africa in 1998 when it was becoming clear that there might ultimately be no room for Turkey in the European project. The African policy gained strength in 2005 with the start of the Opening to African strategy. The same year, Turkey secured the observation status to the African Union. As Ankara became more ambitious, a new narrative emerged around the reveal of the Ottoman Empire and Pan-Islamism. Recep Tayyip Erdoğan, who after serving as Prime Minister for 11 years, became President in 2014, presented the country as a growing regional power and an Afro-Eurasian state. If you look at the domestic imperatives for Turkey, to understand Turkey's strategy in Africa, it helps to consider how the country's internal dynamics influence its foreign policy. Looking at 1990s, starting then, a transitional collections of Islamic association, media outlets and schools known as the Gulen movement played a leading role in Turkey ventures into African continent. The government led by the Justice and Development Party at the time, the AKP, used the movement to project soft power across Africa, namely through corporations in education and social initiatives. By 2013, there were also over 100 Gulen-sponsored schools operating across the continent. If you look at this, the coup attempted in 2016 upended the relationship between the AKP and the Gulenist allies. President Erdoğan blamed the failed coup on what he called a parallel state, a small faction in the army led remotely by his rival, the Fethullah Gulen, the movement's nickname. The Turkish government designated the group a terrorist organization, calling it the Fethullahist terrorist organization. Ankara pressured African countries to crack down on the movement. Governments across the continent responded differently, but most granted Ankara's request. Many Gulen-backed schools were replaced by ones run by the Maastricht Foundation, created by Turkish government as of June of 2016. Most recently, if you are paying attention to the news, Mr. Gulen's nephew was arrested in Kenya. If you consider the economic implication and security cooperation, Ankara also knows that the continent has become a vital stage for competition between global regional powers. We are talking about Africa, and believes in its crucial to secure advantageous position for the scramble for opportunities on economic and security front. Turkey's economic footprint into Africa has grown rapidly. Its foreign direct investment in the continent recently passed over $6 billion, with more than 1,150 projects underway. Trade increased fivefold between 2003 and 2019, from $5.5 billion to more than 26 billion. Air travel has played a crucial role in this growing partnership. There are now 52 African cities served by Turkish Airlines, and that number is expected to increase. If you look at figures, like Russia, Turkey sees Africa as a key customer for its defensive industry. It has signed a series of arms deals with African countries, including Kenya, Uganda, Tunisia. Again, this international strategy bolsters domestic goals, as Ankara wants to strengthen its defense manufacturers and also become self-sufficient in the sector by 2023. The Republic of Turkey's centenary. In the commercial sense, deals have been accomplished by increasing diplomatic activity. Ankara has established at least 37 military offices across the continent and signed agreements with military cooperation with several countries including Chad, Niger, and Somalia. If you look at other aspects from a geopolitical perspective, three countries are particularly relevant in Ankara's economic and operational strategy in terms of their African ambition. The first is Somalia, which offers a gateway to the Indian Ocean, provides strategic access to the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Along with Djibouti, Somalia is a key point for competition. In 2011, as the country was going through a dramatic crisis, President Erdoğan visited Mogadishu and offered humanitarian aid. Since then, Ankara has provided Somalia with more than 1 billion in aid and investment, including the construction of roads, hospitals, and schools. As of 2017, Ankara opened a military base in Mogadishu, Camp Turksom, which also includes a military training center. 1 year later, alleged at the request of the Somali authorities, the United Arab Emirates ended its military training programs in the country. Recently, Ankara paid over $2.4 million of Somalia's debt to the International Monetary Fund. If you look at Libya, Libya also plays a critical role in Turkey's strategy for Africa due to Ankara's ambition over disputed waters and resources in East Mediterranean, as well as its rivalries with other powers. Following the agreement between Turkey and United Nations-backed Tripoli government, Turkish forces have been providing training and support to the Libyan armed forces. Turkey's rival, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and France had all supported, either implicitly or explicitly, a competitive Libyan government based in Tobruk, and that was backed by the forces of Field Marshal Khalifa Haftar. Ankara's prominent role in Libya has been accompanied by intensifying military and economic cooperation with Tunisia, Algeria, the latter now being Turkey's second largest trading partner on the African continent. If you are new to this channel, we will encourage you to subscribe and share our videos with your different network. Ethiopia is another strategic ally for Ankara. Turkey is the country's second main investor after China, with Ethiopia accounting for more than a third, around 2.4 billion of overall Turkish foreign direct investment in the continent of Africa. Besides its strategic location in the Horn of Africa, Ethiopia is also a gateway to East Africa, where Turkey has been increasing its economic activity, namely through major investment in Rwanda in energy, healthcare, construction, and other strategic investment. If you look at the comprehensive strategy with regards to Turkey to the continent of Africa, these examples show that Turkey's strategy for Africa is comprehensive in both its priorities and geographic reach. It includes not only military cooperation, trade, investment, and airline diplomacy, but also cultural tools. Turkish soap operas have conquered millions of viewers in large markets like Nigeria and Ethiopia. Moreover, as with China, but unlike the European Union or the United States, it is highly coordinated strategy. The expansion of trade links goes hand in hand with the establishment of the diplomatic missions. The number of Turkish embassies on the continent of Africa increased from 12 in 2003 to over 43 by 2021, and military cooperation has expanded. Turkey also benefits from some competitive advantage that it will likely retain in the medium and long term. Unlike its European competitors, Turkey has no colonial past haunting its relation with Africa, and in contrast with China, Turkey cannot, at least for now, be accused of predatory policy, neocolonialism, creating debt traps, or providing low-quality goods and services to the continent of Africa. If you look at the strategic move, Moreover, Turkish influence will grow in Sahel and West Africa. Moreover as well, Turkey has several attributes that resonate with African countries overseeing becoming powers in the global US-China competition. Its status as a regional power, trying to consolidate its position in the global arena, its nationalistic and pro-sovereign narratives, and President Erdogan's mantra that the world is bigger than five, referring to 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. If we consider the Turkish scenario, the future of Turkey's African relation will hinge on 3 factors: the evolution of Turkey's economic and political circumstances, the political and security prospects, and also places that are critical for Ankara's African strategy includes North Africa, Ethiopia, and Sudan, and the competition between global regional powers on the continent. With President Erdogan and the AKP set to remain in power, it is likely that Turkey will, through its long-term strategy for Africa, African countries increase willingness to test out new alliances with powers will bolster its goals and also political consequences in the region. A recent example occurs in Somalia, where troops trained at Camp Turksom were deployed to support protests against election delays. Turkish influence will grow in the Sahel and West Africa, and now that France has decided to reduce its military presence there, while the United States of America may also pull back, Ankara's efforts to engage with Senegal, the Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Niger, Nigeria, and Chad show how crucial is considered the region in containing the Gulen movement. In the Horn of Africa, domestic events in Sudan and Ethiopia will determine future scenarios. In the Sudan, President Erdogan has signed an important agreement with former President Omar al-Bashir. Those agreements have lost strength on the transitional coalition seems to favor engagement with West. In Ethiopia, where the outlook for stability remains uncertain, the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia are challenging Ankara's influence. In this context, the dispute over the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam has become a crucial issue. Ankara continues to take Addis Ababa's side against Egypt, which opposes dam's construction. From a global perspective, the most important question will be whether Turkey's strategy helps contain China's influence on the continent of Africa. Though Ankara's growing influence in Africa does not fit into the United States President Joe Biden's strategy of alliance of democracies, the third way offered by Turkey and its need to retain its alliance with the European Union and the United States of America will likely benefit Western interest. We want to thank you for watching. Hopefully we've informed you with regards to Turkey's ambition and its strategy in the continent of Africa. Let us know if you are from one of those regions that you feel Turkey has engaged and also is making a huge impact in terms of strategic operations. Let us know what you think about Turkey in the continent and leave us a comment in this video. And also we would like you to watch some of our informative video on this YouTube channel. We want to thank you for watching the Explorer. We're looking forward to meeting you soon in our next episode. Have a good day. Bye-bye.